Alrighty then. We are going to start with the Brooklyn Nets. They're projected for 45.5 wins this season. Their singular pick from the draft was Reggie Perry. They acquired Bruce Brown, Landry Shamet, and Jeff Green while losing Garrett Temple and Dizanin Musa. I'm really good at pronouncing things. And their coach is Steve Nash. And then, of course, they have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant.
Who am I?
It's you, Kyrie Irving, dribbling.
I could be either one,
23
honestly.
seconds.
I could be literally either one of them. This is what they do. They do this, and then the only difference between Kyrie and Durant is that Durant kind of does this, and that's it. That's the only difference. Okay, Kyrie's just like the whole little Euro action.
With the leg and everything, he does the little kick.
But we have a whole new world with the Brooklyn Nets this year, right? One of the sneaky competitive teams from seasons past, right? Like, I know 2 seasons ago I was looking at them and being like, they're making games competitive with teams that they have no business, like, even being close to being as good as. And then D'Angelo Russell was 2 years ago, right? Where he was an all-star for them. Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, they had a nice solid core, right? With like Jared Allen, Joe Harris, Dinwiddie. A lot of these guys are still on the team.
And a lot of young guys. A lot of like a nice young core that you could build on.
So last offseason, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant decided to take their talents to Brooklyn instead of the Knicks. By the way, one of the most beautiful kind of moments to ever happen to me, a proud Knicks hater. And so now the Brooklyn Nets are now super competitive. They have a very deep team. They did work in the offseason to make their team even deeper, right?
Yeah.
But few things I wanted to talk to you about that are not necessarily on the court, but that might affect on the court. So the first one is this conversation, right? That happened early last week, right? Or middle of this?
No, it was probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago now.
No. When did this come out?
Yeah.
This wasn't that long ago. December 12th. It's the 17th. So it was less than a week ago. Yeah.
Damn, I'm bugging.
I was going to say, I was like, it wasn't that long ago.
Wow, I feel like time. Yeah.
But Kyrie Irving before this live Instagram session, interview, whatever you want to call it, put out this thing saying he wasn't going to be talking to the media at all this year. Has already been fined, what was it, $25K for that?
$25K to him and $25K against the Nets organization as well.
So $50,000 in total. I have 2 questions. Number 1, do you think that that's a big deal, that Kyrie Irving doesn't want to talk to the media? I'll start with that.
No, I mean, I feel like a lot of players are like that. Like, James Harden tried to do the same shit, like, just a couple days ago, too. So, I mean, I don't find that to be a huge deal, because I feel like most of these players never even, especially these 2, they definitely never want to talk to the media. So,
right.
So, I think Kyrie was trying to make like a stupid ass stance, and he backpedaled real quick.
Did you watch what's on our screen right now? Did you see this?
Yeah.
The way they spoke made me more nervous about the team than I'd ever been before that point, because of the way they were talking about how the offense was going to run and how much obviously not on the same page they were. Like,
no, he was. I think this. I feel like, and I've heard like a lot of people talk about this, and I feel like there is like super blown out of proportion. I feel like they were being very sarcastic and like more jokey, because Kyrie was talking about pin downs and like having more post up shots and stuff. And they were saying it in a very joking manner. And like KD was saying, like, "Oh, we'll see," and then he said some shit like, "Oh, I was thinking more like 2.5 post ups. So the half is me passing it to you and you passing it right back." Like he was like that was like joking. Like I don't understand. I feel like people are taking this conversation way out of proportion.
Well, the reason why I feel that way, or the reason why I might be, is because of the statements made before this about how Steve Nash, their new head coach, is just gonna be there, and like it's gonna be a like they made a strange point to say how much of a team effort it was going to be, as opposed to them getting coached. You remember that?
Yeah. But then he walked that back in his last press conference, though.
Yeah,
They
just
asked,
because
yeah.
you walk something back doesn't necessarily mean you don't believe it, though.
I don't know, man. I think they know. Like, I'm sure and especially like he's the same guy that during the NBA Finals, he like said shit like he finally has a teammate that could take the last shot or whatever. Like, over him.
Yeah,
I feel like they do things to like get reaction.
yeah. I also just think, even with that, I think that he's just not self-aware at times, in my opinion. Like, especially Kyrie more than Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant's got that a little bit too, where at times they're just not aware of what the perception is, and like what when they do something like this, like how it's gonna look. Like they don't either they care a lot and it's all just a troll, right? Or they don't care at all and they're completely not self-aware. It's
Yeah.
one way or the other. There's no real middle ground on it because of the way they talk. Like I don't know, much the way we talk to each other on this podcast.
Yeah.
I know that there are times where people fuck with each other, obviously, but I don't know. These guys just seem sensitive, and we've talked about that before this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I just feel, I just think that there's a chance that it might be, what do you call it? It might be bad. Like maybe they, what do you call it? Maybe they're not going to be as strong together in Brooklyn, a place where the media kind of like New York's always been known as a place where the media doesn't pull any punches. You know what I mean? Like New York, Philadelphia, a couple other cities around. Always winter cities.
Yeah.
Always no. LA is usually pretty is okay unless you're talking about
No.
the Lakers.
pretty...
Unless you're talking about the Lakers and what they've been doing recently. But this is their first preseason game of the year. Kevin Durant finally steps on a court for the first time in 500 days, right? With Kyrie. And looked okay. Like, I couldn't make an opinion on whether he was like whether he looked like totally 100% or whether he was 100%. I couldn't get a read for his percentage yet.
Yeah, I don't think you could do it, especially not in a preseason game. He played like probably less than 30 minutes.
Yeah, but stuff like this, just being able to attack the basket, get up.
I think he did that purposely. I think he wanted to make his first play an explosive play to prove that he could do, because that's the same shit Kobe did. If you go back, Kobe's first play after his Achilles injury was a dunk.
Right.
And I think they usually players want to make it like get the worries out of everybody's head like right away. And but I think more so this whole like, and all these preseason games is just to kind of warm him up and get him back into some type of like flow of the game, because he hasn't played. Yeah, I'm sure he probably played scrimmage basketball, but he hasn't played like any type of NBA ball or NBA like the speed of ball like in a while. So he's definitely, I don't know. I think
I didn't notice anything where I was like, okay, he's obviously there's a hindrance yet. You know what I mean? And they're obviously, like you said, there's not enough time or it's not the right circumstances to really justify that. But here's the stuff that I'm interested in that we didn't see here that I really think will determine whether he's truly back. And it's the little things he does, like, well, this is a dunk, but like when he's at the 3-point line or on the wing and he's got the dribble, like I was doing before, and he does all that little quick shit with his feet where he gets a step back and stuff like that. I'm very interested to see how much he's affected in those situations. Like this kind of stuff. You see how fast he's moving his feet? Like, I wonder whether the footwork is going to be handicapped.
I think that type of stuff is gonna you'll see it as the season goes on. I think at first he wanted to slowly get into it, because that's another thing. That's how you re-injure yourself, is if you go right back into it and try to do exactly what you did when you when you just left. So
right. Well, there's but also there's also something to be said for testing out the body too.
Yeah. Well, the nice part about this, I know we're just talking about KD right now, but Kyrie looked like he was himself. I saw, like, in the little bit of moves I saw of Kyrie, it was just straight up his shit, like things that he normally would do. Yeah. And I think he started off the game like 5 for 6 or some shit like that. So
yeah, let's see if I can.
He was definitely awesome. He was on one that day.
All right, so yeah, he was doing all the regular dribble stuff, and he's another guy who was coming off injury, so that's a good point.
Yeah, with the knee injury and stuff. To be honest, I don't think his injury was that real, but I think it was just he was seeing how much he was gonna, pretty much like what you said to me about Randy Moss, like when he with the whole
I play when I want to. I play when I feel like it.
Yeah, pretty much. And then especially knowing, like, I'm not gonna win a championship with this team right now. Like, so there's no point of wasting my body.
That's a good comparison. I didn't even think about that.
Well, he's definitely not Randy Moss.
But he's been like that.
What Randy Moss is to football compared.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying, like, he's. I never thought about that with him. But then again, on this, like, he's had knee problems his whole career. Like, even when he was in Boston, he had knee problems.
Yeah, but the whole thing is he didn't want to be in Boston. Like, it was clear that he didn't want to be in Boston because he left right away.
Right, I wasn't even.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think he threatened Cleveland. Like, when he wanted to leave Cleveland, he threatened to just get surgery and shit. Like,
yeah, that's.
I think he didn't want. I don't think he wanted to be in Boston either, because that wasn't one of the teams on his list. From what I remember.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was because also when you did an interview about it, he was like, what do you call it? I was going to go to Phoenix, and then it was either Phoenix or Boston that was actually on the table. Like when he finally found out about it.
Yeah.
From the Cavs, and so that's why he was like, all right, let's try to go to Boston. So, but neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Do you think? What are the numbers? What do you think the numbers are going to be from the two studs in Brooklyn?
I don't know. I think I had it before when we spoke. I think I said like 25, 7 and 4 or some shit from KD. At least 25. I could see him giving me 25 easy. Especially after seeing that game, he shot really inefficient. He went for like 5 for 12, but I'm sure he just wanted to put up some shots, to get
played on a pro court in 500 days. So
yeah, exactly.
That's to be expected.
So I think he could give you pretty much 20. And that was with him limited in Golden State, because remember, like he had to share the ball more with Stephen and Klay Thompson. So now with getting a little bit more volume, I can see him doing that same thing, not being the same exact player, but putting up similar numbers.
What I was going to say to you is exactly
not 6 assists either.
But hold on. If he was definitively asked to do more or less in Oakland with the Warriors.
I don't know, because you can't, like, to me that's a hard question, because a lot of people would say he clearly was asked to do less, but he was asked to do more defensively.
Yeah.
Like, So it's things that wouldn't show up on the.
Well, based on the highlights we were watching before, even in the brief time he was on the court, he was still using his length on the defensive end and in the paint, right? Kind of what I was talking about. I've talked about that with him previously here on the show, where his length makes him a threat in the interior, right? So I guess why I'm asking is he's really only playing, right, 35 minutes a game here. I could see that going up, right? Like it probably will be like closer to 37 because they need him a little more.
No, I disagree.
I don't think he's playing less minutes.
I disagree. I think coming right off of an Achilles injury, they're not his first year. They'll probably leave him right at that 34.
I think then, considering
because that team, like we said, is like they have a bench, so it's not like they need a. He's gonna have to do all of that. You know what I mean? Like that, especially when you're trying to save. You want to save him for the playoffs. So
I can't imagine him getting over 25 this season. Probably come the playoff time, but I can't imagine him getting over 25. I think Kyrie Irving will be the guy to get them through the regular season. Like in terms of being the lead scorer, right? So this is Kyrie's numbers, right? Last season, when he played, he only played 20 games. But when he played, he was at 27, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's probably where he's going to have to be at for me. Like, in order for this to kind of move the way they want it to in Brooklyn. I think that's what's going to have to happen. I am thrilled they decided to go with Jared Allen over DeAndre Jordan. Because I was worried about that. I don't think DeAndre Jordan is at a point in his career where he should be starting. Yeah, and Jared Allen's been a great shot blocker for years now, and he's the perfect person in the
to help
in the company with KD. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I just
like that.
I think I don't see any of them being like a workhorse. I don't think they're gonna try to do that with any of the two. I think they're gonna limit both of their minutes.
Okay.
And I think during the regular season they're probably gonna try to get chemistry with the team.
Right.
And they're going to try to keep developing all of those younger players to be ready for the postseason. And then I think once the postseason hits, both of their minutes will ramp up, and they'll have guys that are probably hopefully going to be more ready for playoff series and shit like that. And a lot of those guys just came off of a playoff appearance, so that helps.
Do you think?
But I don't see them. If I see any of them going over 35 minutes, I'd be surprised.
Okay, interesting.
And Kyrie hasn't played more than 35 minutes in the last 4 years. So
right. Well, that's true. But I'm just looking at it like they have to. So considering that, I find it hard to believe that they're going to get over 25 a game unless they're super efficient.
Well, KD's the most efficient scorer probably of all time.
Right, but not as we just talked about. He was 5 of 12. He's probably going to continue to be less efficient as he gets himself back into shape, right?
I don't know, man.
I mean, you just
I just don't.
Was the case.
Yeah, I know. Like, but like, my whole thing is that's like, let's say if that's the first month of the season, you still got 50 more games after that. Like that, just the way statistics work is just I just see him. He's an easy 25 a game, and if he's not, it will be because he's not himself yet. But I was also the person to say I wouldn't expect too much of him the first year, but seeing how he was playing, he did a lot of things similar to the old KD. He didn't do the crossover shit like we said, but seeing what I saw, I was like, okay, like that makes me feel a little bit more confident about him being closer to himself, or at least 8. Like, because I mentioned 80% of KD would work for this team, and I think he could be that right now. I think he could be that and more.
And yeah, well, that and more would be over 25 to me, in my opinion. I don't think
he's on. I think there's no doubt in my mind that he's scoring over 25 points a game.
Okay, Lindsay, what's over under?
45.5.
Is that, where do they rank?
I believe they were like in 3rd or 4th.
Okay. So is that behind Milwaukee?
Yeah, behind Milwaukee and Boston, I think.
That's crazy. Boston is going to be the under. I can't imagine them I just can't like. To me, Brooklyn has so at come the end of the season. I feel like if this remains healthy, this is a solid 10 guys to me, right? And they're not even thinking about TLC, who he can play. Jeff Green, he can come in and give you exactly 5 good games in every season.
Yeah.
You never know when they're going to happen, but they're like Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Just get like a 25 from
yeah.
Jeff Green for no reason. You're like, what happened to this guy? Fucking, but I think they're going to be, I think that's over. You said 49 and a half or 45 and a half?
45 and a half.
45 and a half? I think that's over. I think this is a 50-win ball club. Why not? Like, I think Karis LeVert takes a jump. He was at 18 points per game last year. And in the playoffs, he was awesome. Or not in the playoffs, excuse me. In the bubble, before they were in the playoffs. He was really good. He flashed.
Yeah.
So
I got him probably. I'd probably say over as well. But I personally think they'll be like third or fourth in the. I think they'll fall right where they're saying, like third or fourth. I think that's gonna work out that way. But I think it's best for them to like try to work Kyrie and KD into the game, but like make those younger guys feel comfortable and confident with those guys. Like, it's not gonna work if those two are just the two like if it's like if it's pretty much Russell Westbrook and
Russell West.
Yeah, my bad. Russell Westbrook and KD all over again. Like, if it's that again, I don't think it's gonna work. I think you wanna like make it more of a team game, like more of a make those guys, because you got guys who are super talented on that team. Like, there's no point of making those two carry a huge load when you have guys that you could spread the ball around to.
Steve Nash, right guy for the job? Yes or no? And then we'll move on.
Yeah, I think so.
You do?
I think the fact that he has history with KD already, and like he's worked with him, and he's pretty much worked, and KD's worked in a system that Steve Nash was like a part of in Golden State. Like, I think that I think they're both talking and working things out together. That's why they do the whole as a team, like in coaching, because I think KD looks at Nash as his peer versus his like.
That's the thing. That's the only thing that I'm concerned about, is when there needs to be a voice in the room. If the team, like, because this is a type of team I could also see like coasting or like resting on their laurels a little bit, thinking like, okay, we have the talent, much like the Clippers last year, where they had the talent, they had everything to get it done, but like just didn't have their foot on the gas pedal. And I worry whether Steve Nash is the guy that's going to be like, listen, what the fuck are we doing? I don't know if he's that guy. We're going to find out. I don't know if he is. That would be my concern. I don't know who that guy is.
I think if you're a leader, if you've been a leader of a team, like that's one of your roles. So I think he's
right,
been
but he
in
never
a
won.
role like that. Huh?
He never won as the leader of the team.
Yeah, but he's the leader. What guy has been a leader on that team and won? Not KD.
That could be argued. That's my point. That's exactly my point, though, Dario. This is my point. My point is, I don't know who the guy is going to be in nut cutting time, not on the court, but off the court. Off the court. Like, who is that guy? Who's it going to be? Like, and that does matter. Like, who like, on Golden State, I don't even know if it was Steph. It was probably Draymond off the court, who was like, yo, we got to get our fucking shit together.
Yeah, off the court was
like,
definitely.
Every champion has one of those fucking guys. Yeah. And I wonder whether Steve Nash can be that guy. I hope he is. I love Steve Nash.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
I know
players
who the guy is.
Okay.
Joe Harris.
That'd be awesome. Hope you're right. Little white guy. I hope so. He's one of the best shooters in the league, too. Like, a league with great shooters, he's one of the best shooters. I love Joe Harris.
Yeah.
He just tries hard all the time.
And one thing with KD, like, if anyone's going to cause issues when it comes to, like, leadership, it's going to be Kyrie, not KD. Like, KD has proven in his career that he doesn't go against authority. Like, when you look at it, his issue up of anybody's head, and he wanted someone to tell Russ, stop fucking taking shots and give it to the guy, one of the best players in the world. Like, that was like his biggest issue, and the coaches never did it. the upper management never did it, and that's what he bitched about. So
And
I don't
that's
think
what
he's
brings
gonna
me
be.
back to this conversation as we come full circle. That's exactly what brings me back to this, because that's what makes me worried about this conversation, and that's why I took it more seriously than maybe I should have. Because
Do
you're
you
completely right, and yet,
like just the conversation alone? Is Kyrie going? He's going back saying the same thing. He's like, oh, like KD says, I don't feel comfortable with my point guard being in the low post,
yeah,
and it was like clearly like a joking
I just hope you're right.
conversation.
I want you to be right, for the record. I want you to be correct. But I worry.
Yeah.
I worry about not necessarily who the leader is, but who the voice is in penis chopping time.
Yeah.
All right.